So
sort of.
that's a little bit about my dad. He was very strict.
No, just face that way. More.
Okay.
Because the camera's right here. Okay.
Shall I start talking?
Yes. I can edit this later, so.
Some of the jolly things that happened in my childhood, for instance, my dad was real handy with carpenter tools, so he made the boys, which was 5 brothers, stilts. And the one brother excelled in it. He could go up steps, and we would watch him and clap and be real happy that Bob could use the stilts the best. The other ones tried them, but they just wasn't as successful. And then another thing funny, we had this great big mother pig, and you could put a saddle on it. I think it was that big, and I was able to ride it. And my cousin Elsie came to walk with her dad on Sunday to see us, and I forget if it was 4 miles or how. But I entertained him by riding the mother pig. And so we had a reunion about 5 years ago, and she presented me with a pig bank in honor of me riding the pig for them.
5 years from today.
5 years ago.
Yes. Oh, that's cute.
We had a reunion. I think there was 30 cousins there, and I was the only aunt. We had 5 boys and 3 girls, and so we never had any jealousy because we didn't have much. And if somebody got something and they never showed any jealousy, we would talk about it. For instance, I got to go to my aunt's on vacation, and my one cousin said, "Now, when you go back home, don't forget to tell them all the things that you did that was fun, because they won't get to go." And I thought that was a lesson in thinking about others. And then, excuse me.
Take your time, because I can edit this out later.
I think there's one other funny thing I was thinking about. It's not recording now.
It is, but it doesn't matter. I'll take this out.
Oh, I see. You can do that.
We can come back.
Well, one time when I was 10 years old, I had my first licking. And what I did was, I didn't evidently feel hungry, so I went to the bathroom, and it was in the basement. And here was this cute little frog hopping around. So I just proceeded to pick it up and take it up to the dining room and put it on the dining room table. And it hopped in the beets. Then it jumped around and spread this purple all over the white tablecloth. So when the meal was done, my mother said, "What was so funny?" And this girl spoke up and said, "Well, your daughter got a toad and put it on the table, and it hopped in the beets." And I said, "No, it wasn't a toad, it was a frog." And she said, "Young lady, you're going to get spanked for this, so get ready." So we did the dishes, and I went to the room to get the spanking. And she said, "Now, you have to be an example for the rest. You have to yell like it really hurts." And I thought, oh, she's going to go light. I'm not going to really get a spanking. Yeah, she gave me a spanking. I didn't have to pretend. And it was the first and last spanking I got.
That's good. Do you want to tell me about the...
Oh, and then about the cat. My aunt made this beautiful tablecloth. And it hung over quite a bit, probably 12 inches. And on the corners, why, it would come to like a point hanging down. And I seen this cat, somebody dumped it off, and it was just ideal for bringing in the house. So I brought it in the house, and it didn't last very long. My aunt said, "Look what it's doing to my tablecloth." It was hanging there on that point, swinging back and forth, just having a good time. So that was the end of the cat. It went back outdoors. I was a little bit impish, I think. I wanted extra attention, and I got it. So then the next day was Easter, and my mother got a job nursing in an orphanage. They had an outbreak of flu, and so she took my youngest brother, and she lived right there at the orphanage while this sickness is going on. And my aunt is so provoked with me. She just said, "Well, you're going back with your mother." So I stayed 9 months, and I was back with mother again. Only I didn't get to stay with her. I had to go to the girls' cottage for teenagers, preteens it was. So for Christmas, my sister gave me skates, and I really enjoyed those skates. I could go up and down the basement of this cottage where we lived, and it had support pipes in the floor, and we'd go swinging around there. And there was two big rooms that had our different lockers and different toys and different things was put away neatly every day. On one day, I decided that I was going to have a sale of all my possessions, and I think I might have been 12. And anyway, they didn't have very much money, so sometimes you get a nickel for something. And anyway, I just felt real entertaining getting rid of my things and talking the sales up. And another time in school, the teacher went further than was expected, I believe. It was in the fall, and I'd be about 11. And she had limbs that had blown down with leaves, pretty colorful leaves on. And she decorated her classroom with these twigs and foliage. And I decided I was going to entertain. And the teacher allowed me. So I just went around we had tables instead of desks. And we had a drawer that you put your pen and ink in. And then your books, you just left them neatly on the table. And she taught every class. This was junior high. And I would go around each one and bring them into the story. And I had them all laughing, and she never stopped me. She left me have the whole period to entertain. And
I know the story I want to hear about. You told me you got in a fight once.
Oh, yeah.
And it's hard for me to imagine my grandmother fighting, but
yeah, this girl was the one that told about the frog. That it wasn't a frog, it was a toad. It was a toad, it was a frog. And so I decided to settle it once and for all. And I called her a name, and she called me another one. And pretty soon we're down on the floor, scrambling around and pulling hair, and she pushed my nose and called me a nigger nose. And anyway, we ended up hurting each other good. And we stood up, and from this day on, she was okay. We were friends. But until that time, it seemed like she just hated every bone in my body. We settled it. I don't know which one was the bully, but we settled it.
do you remember? This is about me, but it's also about you. Do you remember pulling up to pick me up from school once in Palm Harbor? And there was two kids fighting out in the playground. and you went to break them up,
And they hit me,
and
probably.
you grabbed. You don't remember this?
No.
Oh, Granddad used to like to tell this story, and Granddad said, "Well, you get out there and break them up," and you went out and you grabbed them both by the hair and separated them, and it was some white kid on top of some black kid, and you grabbed the white kid's hair and yanked him off, and guess who it was?
Who was it?
Your grandson
Oh,
that you went to
no.
pick up.
It was Jeff.
Yeah, it was me.
No, I don't remember that.
Yeah, me and this black kid were
Were
rolling
you
around
friends
fighting,
then?
and I was, no, I don't think we ever became friends.
No.
But I remember you grabbing my hair, and I thought it was a teacher, because you grabbed with such authority that I stopped fighting immediately.
Oh, no kidding.
Because my head snapped back, and you yanked me off that kid, and I was like, all right, I'm done. But then it turned out to be you. I think you were taking me to guitar lessons
Oh,
or
really?
something, yeah, and I got distracted on the way to the car.
He probably was going to take your instrument.
I don't know what provoked it, but we got in a lot of fights with the kids they bust in back then. So I just wondered if you remembered that.
No, I didn't.
Okay, well, no.
But I can't imagine me yanking your hair.
Oh, you did.
We were